Welcome back, everyone. After that delicious lunch, the Korean chicken was worth the hype and the salads too. So we're ready to get stuck in to our next speaker, who is Rubina Carlson. This is very exciting. A certified practicing marketer and global B2B marketing leader with over 15 years experience across tech, tourism, higher education and agency sectors. As head of marketing at 90 Seconds, she drives data-led strategies to grow brand visibility and revenue. She's a powerhouse and a champion of AI and early tech adoption. Rubina has built GPTs, tested a wide range of tools and helps brands future-proof their marketing with creativity and innovation. She's also a director of Digital Adelaide, South Australia's largest marketing conference where we are today, and a key force behind Adelaide's emerging AI community. You often find her experimenting with the next big thing, likely wearing one of her beautiful fascinators. Please give a warm welcome to the lovely Rubina Carlson. She's all yours.
Wow. It's quite humbling, actually, when you hear someone else read your bio. I don't know if you guys experience that. Thank you all for having me. Thank you all for coming. I realise that you could have picked the AI stream across the way, but appreciate you all being here today with me. So let's have a look at this. So we're talking about marketing and sales. Now, how many of you have ever spoken to the sales team? Be honest. Well, okay, Drew is the sales and marketing manager, so he doesn't really have a choice. But yeah, the fair chunk of you have, right? And I think that this is an important thing. And it was really, if you were here for Monica's presentation from Fivecast, how she really talked about that 70% of that buyer journey is happening before they've even reached out or someone is talking to someone from your organisation, particularly a sales team member. It's really important that that handoff is smooth. It's important that you understand where each other are at. And certainly in my current role at 90 Seconds, it's something that I've found to be quite critical for us so that we can actually leverage everything that we've got in our small team. We've got about 50 in our team worldwide, and actually kind of move the needle on things. Because ultimately, particularly when you're in a scale-up environment, revenue, bookings are key, and then recognising that revenue as quickly as you can is equally important, because ultimately that speaks to the sustainability of the business. So with that in mind, I'd like to put it out there that marketing and sales don't have to be frenemies. And yes, I know sometimes the sales team are a bit gung-ho, and yes, sometimes the sales team are a bit selfish. I certainly have found that in my career. And sometimes, they come in with the best of intentions to give ideas, but then they don't always fit well. But that doesn't mean that we can't get along and work together to ultimately get the best out of it. So ultimately, through that, we want to unlock growth through alignment and sales. I'm going to say, instead of enablement, we're talking about empowerment here, because it's also about giving them the tools so that they can also leverage the work you're doing as well as a marketer. So if we flip back to the past for a minute, well, not the past, I guess, for some people it might still be this way. Typically, marketing and sales have worked in silos. Marketing is often perceived as a cost centre, something that, we have to pay for to do business, but it's not necessarily something that's contributing as a revenue driver. Sales is always seen as a revenue driver because they're at the end of the funnel where the conversion happens. They're critical, in fact, to getting that conversion across the line, particularly when you're working with enterprise brands, which we're fortunate enough to do at 90 Seconds. But ultimately, as a result, you kind of have these diverging KPIs, and Monica kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's coming together on those KPIs that actually will enable you to move forward. Sales care about leads. So, they want to know, where's my next inbound website lead coming from, or where's the next event that we're going to get more leads from. That's the part that they care about. They're less about, all the content and all the education that marketing is doing in the market prior to someone even being open to discussing, using our video creation platform. So that's typically how it has been. And in your organisation, it may be this way at the moment. Marketing teams are sitting over here, sales teams are sitting over there. In my current role, I have the added complexity of that we all work remotely. Our teams are global. We have marketing is based here in Adelaide. Our sales teams are based in Sydney, Singapore, Hong Kong, London, Chicago, and LA. So everybody is everywhere as well. So we have that extra sort of challenge, I guess, in terms of having those silos by not physically being located together. What other notes do I have here? But ultimately, this misalignment, can lead to things like wasted marketing spend. It can also lead to, create the sales going off and just creating their own stuff that's off-brand, or it's got the wrong message in it. I've seen that in our sales teams. Some of our previous sales team members that have been at 90, they've got, Rubina, I just didn't want to bother marketing with this thing, so I've created my own version. And I'm like, love the enthusiasm. That's not even our message. What are you doing? Has that happened to anyone else, by the way, in this room? Yeah? Yeah. Love sales, love their enthusiasm, but seriously, just use the collateral we've given you, okay? But from that, I then have learned, okay, well, if you guys want to do stuff, you want to help contribute to marketing, cool. I'm going to give you some tools to do it so that you can actually then do it in a bit more of a meaningful way, which we'll get to a bit later. But ultimately, I think even as marketers, as much as we talk about awareness and as much as we talk about impressions, we talk about reach, we talk about that conversion to lead, then, how good a quality is that lead? Are they actually moving through the sales cycle? What kind of things are we doing to nurture them, to move along? At the end of the day, we do want to see them convert at the end. Because when they do convert at the end, all of a sudden it's like, well, see that we spent all this money on marketing? That's been, part of getting this lead in the door in the first place. And particularly when you're looking to attract enterprise brands or you're entering different markets, it's really, really important that you kind of look at the end game as well. So that's where CRM is really critical for this kind of stuff as well. And ideally, if we're looking at it from the full sort of spectrum and, kind of outside of today is, delivery, so operations, so making sure that the product does what it says it's going to do. The team who's delivering is doing what they've said that we're promising in marketing and sales. Ultimately, we want that to be the case too at the other end. So then we get happy customers who, when we say, hey, you want to do another video project? Cool. Why don't you commit to a wallet? Then you'll get bonus credits. You can do even more video with us. Oh, yeah, well, that was a good experience the first time. Great. Easy sell. Very easy. So, that's ultimately, for us, as a team at 90, whether you're in the delivery side, you're in marketing, you're in sales, you're in success, this is what we're doing. Ultimately, it's about getting the leads in. It's about growing our revenue and then ultimately growing that through having these happy return, repeat customers. A little bit about 90 seconds. Had anyone actually heard of it before I stood up here? One. Okay, that wasn't two. Three is a few. Cool. So ultimately, we are a video creation platform. It's actually originally a Kiwi startup, and now it is, global. So we, as I mentioned before, we're across APAC markets, US, UK, and EMEA. We work with big brands, like we work with Google, we work with Facebook, we work with, fruit that you can't really say because it's NDA. We work with Deloitte, we work with Ogilvy, we work with big agencies, small. We also do work with some SMBs too, but our core focus is really these enterprise brands. And as Monica was saying before, these buying groups and these enterprise brands are quite complicated. The procurement processes are ridiculous and insane. Once you're in though, it's fine, it's easier. But trying to get that person to find that advocate within those businesses to then actually take us through a lengthy procurement process so that we can get, a regional services agreement or a global master services agreement can actually be really difficult. So it's really important that we kind of find ways forward on that. We've produced, something like 47,000 videos over the last 14 years. And ultimately, that's what we are there to do. Everything is managed through our tech platform. So I guess in terms of like an industry, we are tech first, we are a platform, but then we also have services that we're overseeing to provide those video services to those clients across 110 countries around the world. So the first thing here that we're talking about with the alignment, and this kind of goes into a little bit more sort of, this is actually a live working example. This is actually what we do for our new logo acquisitions. So at 90, when we're talking about a new logo, we're talking about a brand that has never worked with 90 before. So it's likely that there's probably going to be no procurement in place. There's going to be no one who potentially within the organisation who's worked with us before. So these these people are like, kind of, I guess, the coldest of the cold of the cold, So initially, what we do is we kind of put the workflow together in terms of the entire customer journey. So this is for the sake of today's preso, stops when they've made a purchase. But the full version of this goes then on into delivery and everything that goes around that as well. But today the focus is very much on that marketing and sales, and then we're calling the endpoint for today, getting the order signed, and then moving it into delivery so we can deliver that video service. So why this is really important is that this doesn't just live on this slide. We've got a Figma doc where all of these images are managed. We have a shared Notion database that everybody has access to. And ultimately, this is visible to everyone at all times. So it's all about us coming together and saying, okay, well, what are the things that marketing are going to do? Marketing are going to commit us to events. Marketing are going to write blogs. Marketing are going to do socials. Marketing are going to create videos for us. And while the sales team do have ideas around the types of things that we should be sharing, ultimately it kind of comes back into this framework as to whether we proceed with it or not. Usually what I find really helpful from the sales team is when they're having a discussion and a client brings up a pain point that we haven't actually already recognised, or a reason why they wouldn't proceed. So, when they're looking at objection handling and that kind of thing, it's like, right, okay, well, let's make sure we've got content around those objections so then we can, hit some of those objections before they even speak to a person for future buyers and that kind of thing. But the critical thing here is that it's also about, we've got all these different channels, and I deliberately have kind of put, socials and ads and videos and everything in this kind of bucket all together in the top left corner there, because the buyer journey is really complicated. And I loved Monica's simple ones that she showed. I wish mine were that simple. They are not, unfortunately. But it might be that they saw a LinkedIn post and then they saw us mention this article and then they saw this thing over here. But we don't necessarily have all of those touch points mapped in the CRM. So it is really like this kind of, I find it sometimes a bit difficult with that unknown thing around, well, what is actually driving the leads? Well, yes, we did an event. Yes, we got 200 leads off the back of it because we partnered and we got access to the list, but how many of those have actually converted was pretty low. Whereas people who come through the website, we've got a much higher proportion of people who are converting because the intent to purchase is so much stronger and the need to purchase is so much nearer. So following on from that, that's one thing I do recommend that you do is having a look at that, look at that handoff to sales as well. We've spent a lot of time on our lead workflows so that once a lead comes in, it doesn't just get sent out to Slack and then wait for the VPs to assign it. It actually goes through a qualification process first within HubSpot using workflows to make sure that this is actually a legitimate lead first and foremost, and then also to send it to the right people. So if it's an SMB lead, that typically goes to our success team. If it's an enterprise lead, that will go to our sales team. So we kind of try to do a bit of that pre-qualification before the teams get involved. And then we also have an operations team who is responsible for moderating that and making sure that the workflows are doing what they're meant to. Occasionally the workflow gets it wrong, but then we kind of just fix it in the back end. But we've got it down pat, it's pretty good. You'll also notice on this page that while we've got marketing mapped on the top of it, down the bottom, that's outreach. So, we do probably less outreach in Australia because, we've got all the privacy stuff that no doubt Paul covered this morning. But, certainly in the US, game on, do what you want, they don't care. People do care because they don't want to be interrupted, but in terms of where you stand legally, there's a lot more that you can do in those spaces. There's a lot more data available to you as well. So equally, we map as part of this, the outreach activities that sales might be doing, that our SDRs might be doing in that space. So that is equally an important aspect. So that's kind of where this kind of comes in. But I guess for me, the big thing is that when we put this together, I didn't just write this by myself. I wrote probably, I'd say 60% of it. But then I went and shopped it around, particularly to the VPs, because I know that they're the ones who are going to, I figured out pretty quick at 90, VPs are on board, sales team have to follow, there's no discussion. So, going from the top down, and I'm quite close with our VPs, critical that we get buy-in from them, because ultimately they're the ones who are going to be directing their teams and saying, marketing's doing all this stuff for you, and this is what you need to do with that. But our job, I think, is the other thing here, is that when you look at that, this here, it looks like, my job sort of finishes here, right? It's like, okay, cool, they weren't ready to buy yet, so we'll drop them in a nurture thing, and then marketing's kind of doing its thing over there. But that kind of, while it is kind of showing us, okay, the sort of the trade-offs and everything like that, it doesn't really sort of reflect how we actually work together, because it's not just about how we're generating those leads, it's also how we're supporting the sales team to do their job better and also more efficiently, and also about making sure that they are actually talking in our voice, talking on brand, staying on message, which, prior to kind of my arrival, it definitely had been kind of a bit more of a cowboy situation, I think, with people just kind of saying whatever they needed to say, really, to get a deal in. So these are things that I've done to empower our sales team. The first one there is creating high-value content that directly addresses sales needs and common objections. So, for us, well, why would I use 90 seconds? Like, I've got a perfectly good creator who I work with locally, so why would I need 90 seconds? Well, you probably don't need us to do your Adelaide stuff. In fact, I would not even be recommending it, to be honest. You guys have all there are some fantastic video, providers, and, Refuel do video, and they're a sponsor, so shout out to Refuel. But, in terms of, okay, well, actually, we've got a client who is based in Sydney, but I don't have a network in Sydney, and paying for the agency to go is too cost prohibitive. Okay, well, that's where the 90 seconds bottle would come in to support you, and that's where it would fit. So it's about kind of generating those kind of blog articles around, okay, you might have your preferred suppliers, but, if you need to expand your capacity, here's ways that you can expand your capacity. And so we write article content around that sort of thing. So that's one example of how we kind of address those. That's probably one of the most common objections, I think, that you get at 90 years old. Well, I've already got a preferred supplier. Yeah, but do they cover this location that you're also based in? When it comes to that enterprise level, when we're talking to CMOs and heads of studio and things like that, the question is around control, around budget control, around brand control. Well, how do you make sure that the team who are the field marketing managers, in Australia, when you're based in the US, are actually following what the guidelines are? How do you know? Oh, well, we just don't let them create content. I've certainly heard that when I've been interstate and talked to a lot of marketers who are field marketers. Quite often they are in a position where HQ send them assets and that's it. So there's nothing for the local Australian market, and they find it really hard for that to get traction here, because we have a different culture compared to the US and all that kind of thing, never mind the spelling. I've had to get used to American spelling because we use American spelling as standard at 90 as well. So I apologise if there's any US spelling that creeps into my deck. The other thing too that we've done to empower the sales team is automating their deck templates and things like that. So, we're kind of still working on implementing this at the moment, but certainly in my previous agency life, it was something that we worked really hard to stand up very quickly. As a secondary role when I was there, I was, doing BD. I called it accidental BD. Someone just asked me, hey, can you help with emails? Sure. Here's a proposal. It took me 10 seconds to write. Because ultimately there's tools out there like Quilla, like PandaDoc and so on, that can talk to your CRM and then just pull the data out of the CRM, and you've already branded it all nicely and it's got all your products in there, and then you just send it off. So it's taking a job that might have taken you an hour, 2 hours to put together, and compressing the time down to 10, 15 minutes. In our case, we're still kind of working on that, but what we have done is we have provided the sales team with a set. Here is the pitch deck. You will present slides 1 through 10, and then here is a supplementary deck that's got 500 examples of our work. Pick 3 that are the most relevant to the prospect you're meeting with, drop them in the deck, save the deck, present the deck, shoot off the deck afterwards. Done. So the only time that becomes an issue is if they're looking at the examples and they're like, we haven't got any updated examples of X, Y, Z. And that's usually when I see a marketing request come in, but then we're updating that big library rather than just doing it for one person, so we see the efficiency gains through that. Other thing I've done is I've created a custom GPT. Has anyone played much with custom GPTs? Maybe one or two, a couple of people, cool. So ultimately what this custom GPT has access to is our buyer personas, our key messages, all of our product information, and also our vocabulary. So, what words we use. For example, production is not something, we avoid using production where we can, and you use the word creation instead. So instead of video production, it's video creation. So ultimately what we've done is we've built those GPTs so that when the sales team are writing, whether it's outreach emails or they're even just writing in response to an email they might have received or an intro they might have received from one of their existing clients, they're able to jump in there, put what the context is, write a response in there, and then everything that they're sending out has got the right message in it. I have seen that the sales team then modify it a little bit because it has to sound like them. Like one of our US salespeople, she says howdy, like that's how she greets people, howdy. It's very howdy. Yeah, she's lovely. Like, I love her. I think she's amazing. She even wore a fascinator to a marketing event, so she looked more like a marketer because she's like, I took inspiration from you, Rubina. So she's an amazing person, but that's how she writes. Every comms, like it doesn't matter, even if she's internal. Howdy. Now, when she's checking in for today on Slack, howdy, I'm on, this is what I'm doing. It's howdy, howdy, howdy. So, the GPT doesn't know that. She knows that. So they do change them, they change the content, like they change the language a bit so it sounds like them, but the key messages are in place. And I think that that's the key thing here that we're trying to do by giving these tools. But it also means that I'm seeing less of, hey, Rubina, have you got an email template for XYZ? No. Don't make me write 50 million email templates, it's going to kill me. Particularly because we are quite a tight, small marketing team. So we've got myself, I have a coordinator who does mostly sales enablement type sort of tasks in Indonesia, and then also a part-time web developer and a part-time designer. So, and the designer also works on our product as well, UX and that kind of thing. So quite often the product team get their tickets put ahead of mine. So that is a challenge in and of itself as well. And then finally, running training on campaigns, on products and all that kind of thing. So recently we launched a Custom Stories white paper, and now we're like rolling out all the millions of pieces of content that we can make out of it, which is so fantastic. So yes, I strongly recommend reusing where you can. But ultimately, with that, I also need the sales team to be on board because they're the ones having conversations, particularly with the accounts that they're managing. They need to know, okay, we've got this thing in market. If it's relevant to your, contacts, you send it. Like, yes, we'll be sending out marketing emails, and yes, we'll be nurturing the database, and yes, we'll be doing all this stuff. But if you know that you've been talking about custom stories on your last call, just send them the link to download the thing. Like, they don't need to sign up for another form or do all this stuff because we know who they are. We can see when they access it in HubSpot. That's all fine. Send them the link to this thing. We also released a whole series of products around custom stories as well. So one thing about the 90 Seconds platform is that you can productize. So, you might have, for us, what we do for public inventory is that, we've created a local customer story that's like a half-day shoot, a few hours of editing. Your outputs are a 2 to 3 minute video and 2 social cut downs, for example. And then we've created a whole series of these products that are all interrelated and kind of fit into this bigger custom stories framework of where you're trying to pull it all together, right? So it wasn't just a matter of here's a white paper, send it out if you think it's relevant, see you later. I went through everything. I went through the white paper, we went through all the new landing pages we created, the new activities that were going to be going out, the call out for, hey, repost this if you can, or hey, here's content for you to share on your own socials. Wow, I am so far out of time. All good. And then obviously sharing market insights. Here's a quick one. All right, let's move on because I don't know how many more slides I've got left and I've just been given the 5 minutes. So, all right. So smart tools, aligned teams, bigger impact. So, we love these kind of headlines. But just thought I'd share some of the tools that we're using. So I've mentioned HubSpot a few times. If you want to hit me up and chat about HubSpot, I'm always happy to chat about HubSpot and how we use it. But ultimately for us, it's a tracking tool. Like, we're able to track the leads, track where they are in the deals when they've got an open order with us. But equally, have they even made it to that first order yet, or are they still a prospect, that kind of thing. And then we tailor our communications to them accordingly. I think the big thing here is that it doesn't matter which CRM you're using, CRM is critical, particularly in a B2B cycle. So our sales cycles, I would say, sometimes can be as quick as 2 weeks. And that's usually in the case of, hey, my colleagues used you before, I need a video stat, but you're already in the procurement system, everything is already there, so we just need to get the quote out, we need to get the brief sorted, final budget from approval from the one level of management above, and then go, because the shoot needs to happen within 2 weeks. So we do see that kind of thing happening. It's typically for a smaller project. It's usually somewhere in the order of like 10 to 20K. So it's usually something that's quite confined and time sensitive. For these bigger kind of, enterprise deals, where we're talking like, okay, we're going to do 20 customer stories and, it's going to be, $150,000, we're going to commit to these stories and we're going to shoot in 20 places around the world, all that kind of stuff, that doesn't take 2 weeks. That conversation can be as long as like 12 months, sometimes even a bit longer. It really just depends on where the procurement status of 90 seconds is within that organisation. So if we have to go through full procurement, that can delay things by up to like 6 months. If it's a case of we already have a business relationship with one entity within that business, then they're able to kind of fast track some of the checks and things like that because we've already got them in place. What's the other one I had up there? Clay. Has anyone heard of Clay? Anyone using Clay? We've got a couple down here. So if you're doing any kind of data enrichment, if you're doing any kind of like outreach and that kind of thing, and you're trying to find like people who have worked at this company, or you want to monitor where people in your CRM, when they move companies, things like that, Clay is incredible. You might be more familiar with tools like ZoomInfo and Apollo. Clay, I think, does a better job because it's able to query multiple databases like ZoomInfo, like Apollo and others. And so, for that one, I think that's a really important one to consider, particularly if you're looking to do lead enrichment. As we were talking about before with forms, if you've only got to put in an email address, well, all of a sudden your barrier to fill out the form is pretty low. So you can use tools like Clay to enrich everything else in the background in the meantime, so you get their first name, their last name, potentially their phone number, maybe, but certainly, their role and all those other bits that you can scrape from LinkedIn. ZoomInfo, our US and UK teams still use ZoomInfo, and I think it's mainly because they find the quality of the data better for those markets with ZoomInfo. That's the only reason they use it. Google Slides, again, like we're using branded decks, reusable templates, that kind of thing as well. And also, I guess, it's a simple thing that I think we are all kind of just accustomed to being able to just collaborate on each other's documents in real time. I think it's something we all take for granted, but it's actually really important and really critical, particularly when you've got a fast turnover required for something. GPT, as I mentioned, drafting emails, so the marketing team uses it, the sales team use it, and everybody's sending the same message, which is great. And then finally, Slack. It's pretty important to all of us because we are using, huddles, mainly for quick meetings. It's now got an AI function where it can take notes for you, which is pretty cool. But also, that's just where we collaborate, particularly when you've got updates coming through to you overnight from the UK and the US, so it's ready for you to pick up in the morning. But yeah, I'm going to kind of move through a little bit because I realise I've got a few more slides here. But ultimately, it's not a one-way street. It's not about marketing giving everything over to sales and sales giving nothing back. That's not how this works. It's a partnership. Ultimately, it's a relationship that we're building together. So what I've found is that the feedback, as I mentioned before, from the sales team can be really helpful. Why this deal didn't close. Why we didn't even get a look in for this particular offering. What's happened in the past with this particular client. What do we need to show them that we're, like we've had clients in the past who are like, you guys do customer stories really well. You do internal comm stuff really well, but, we've got this big kind of, creative campaign. I don't think you guys can do it. We can, actually, and we have. So send some examples and all that kind of thing. So then it kind of informs what kind of content we're generating from a blog, an article, etc. perspective. Quickly on success. So this is actually a snapshot from our HubSpot. That's actually the dashboard that we use. This is specifically looking at new customers in the US, that data set there. But ultimately, it's about having our collective KPIs for growth. So we're measuring where the leads come from, but we're also measuring where they sit in that funnel. They're new leads, they've been sales qualified, and then do they become opportunity? So opportunity is where there's an open deal in play. So, it's now with the sales team to then convert and close. But ultimately, it's important that we share these targets. At the end of the day, we're all working towards building 90 to be a $12, $15 million company by the end of the calendar year. So their targets are pretty straightforward when you work it back from that, right? Because ultimately, that's what matters. Like, yes, the teams need leads, but we need to make sure those leads keep coming and that we're educating more people and getting more people top of funnel, because ultimately, we're all still working to make sure that this number is strong and the revenue is strong. So, who doesn't love a key takeaway slide? What can you do? Start small. I think Monica had the exact same words on hers as well. Start small. I challenge you, if you haven't recently, go and talk to a sales team member you don't know. Just sit down, I don't know whether you have lunch or if you do like a random sort of Slack huddle or a Teams call. Keep it fairly casual, keep it fairly informal. Just ask about what's been happening in their world. Salespeople love to talk, so they'll tell you a lot. Develop, and draft those shared objectives and key results. Like ultimately, okay, well, if you know where the business is at and you know what the business goals are, like the revenue goals or the number of leads, or you know what the conversion rate is, like for 90, that's another area we're working on, is how do we improve our conversion rates to make sure we win? Why are we losing? Like, at what point is it? Is it because the presentation was rubbish? Is it because the proposal was rubbish? Is it because our pricing wasn't competitive enough for that market? Why are we losing? And then how do we work together to resolve that? Establish consistent meetings between marketing and sales leaders. And then if you're kind of big enough that you've got marketing team members and individual sales team members working together on things, start doing that as well. Build and encourage those informal relationships, through cross-functional events, shared projects, that kind of thing. So when we've kind of been developing some of these dashboards, we work together with the sales team to get a sanity check. Are we showing the right data, and is this roughly aligned with what you would expect to see? And then I guess together, once you've kind of built a bit of rapport with the salesperson, list some areas for improvement on both sides. So it's not just about marketing could do this better or sales could do this better. It's about also what you guys can do better together. And prioritise the quick wins, because the quick wins is what's going to give you the momentum to keep going, and also show the top. I'm in a fortunate position where I report to CEO, and we have a very good working relationship. But ultimately, we kind of are showing that, okay, well, by us working together, can you see the revenue figures lifting? US is a great example for us. Last year, the US market was still trying to find its feet. That's probably a very polite way of saying it. Then in sort of December, January, we started increasing marketing support for the US in particular. That involved having fortnightly meetings with the US, developing specific content for their market, working with them on, here's the GPT to help you write better emails, better outreach on LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. And now it's like second to the UK, like it's really just taken off in terms of a market. And we've really probably seen the results of that work hit in Q2. So Q1 was still as you'd expect, a little bit of growth year on year, but Q2 it's really hit its strides, and Q3 is set to be even bigger. So, you can't tell me that without extra support they haven't been able to kind of move on from that. But ultimately, play as a team, align on those goals, map out the customer journey, empower sales when you get insights into your industry as well, share those sort of thought leadership pieces that you've got. Be open to the feedback the sales is given to you, particularly if they're representing the customer voice and it's what customers have been saying to them. And then also measure those success with those KPIs, set that all up in your CRM. And then ultimately, prioritise that ongoing communication and collaboration between the two teams. I made it to the end, but I think I'm over time. It always happens to me. Thanks, everyone.
Brilliant.
Yeah?
Yeah, brilliant. agree. Really, really insightful. I've just got some questions that I'd love to just give us all some takeaways as well, because that was so knowledgeable. I think to paraphrase the quote by Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. How do we get real visibility into what sales are doing? Because when we do know better, we can implement that in a better way.
Yeah, I think that, what I've found is that the CEO actually often asks me to overlook the sequences. Now, I don't go into every sequence that the sales team's ever sent, because, they're responsible for their outreach. But what I do is I look at the stats overall in HubSpot and look at the ones where we actually got meetings, because, has anyone done much with outreach and cold outreach and that kind of thing? So just FYI, like really, really low conversion. Surprise, surprise, shock horror. But, as a result, it's about, okay, well, what was it about this message that this person actually wanted to click and book a meeting or respond in a positive way? What is it? Was it just a timing thing? Was it, and so you kind of then drill down into those bits. But it's important to have that sort of overall thing. So I can't, express enough how important a CRM is. And if you don't have one, like, let's get together and write a business case for you so that your leadership can give you one. Because I think particularly in B2B, you haven't got a CRM, you're blind. You have no idea what's happening. You can't see what sales team are doing. You can't see where your leads are coming from. And if you can't see any of that, then you're just doing stuff and hoping something sticks. And look, revenue went up, I guess that's okay. But if sales cycle, as I said, is, long, well then something you do today probably won't take impact until 6, 12 months down the track.
We're so busy, I think we need tools like this to help us track where we're going, so we can pull on that data when we need to. Look, apart from having team bonding days, paintballing or something fun like that, we all love those sort of things. What's your approach to building strong relationships with the sales team from a marketing point of view?
Initially, I was very responsive, probably to my own detriment later, because daily expectation was set, Rubina's available. So no, actually I've got to do my marketing core stuff over here. But ultimately it's, I think, about just taking the time to get to know people as well. It's not just about, what's happening in your world. Like, that question is quite open-ended, I think. And some people, they restrict it to work-related stuff, Chanel. But then, quite often, like, I found out very early on that the VP for the UK and EMEA and US, she has twins too. Her twins are 20-something, mine are 6. So obviously we're at different ends of the spectrum, but, it's a point of connection. And so I think that it's also about just getting to know the people as well, particularly in those leadership roles, because it's, I think that that's an important part. And then you can then, kind of then have some tougher conversations when they're required.
I think just one final question. Have you got an example of a situation in your long, amazing career where something could have gone really wrong, but your team or yourself made a decision to either implement something like getting to know someone better or changing it up, something that actually allowed you as marketing and sales to talk human to human and connect and for the betterment? Is there like one example you can touch on to say, we did this and wow?
Yeah, I think sometimes the sales team, they come in hot with an RFP, so request for proposal, and I realise I'm out of time because look at all these people going.
We've got 1 minute. That's all right, we've got one.
1 minute, literally 1 minute. RFP. So like with an RFP, for example, they might, how do I put it? They'll come in at the last possible second and be like, help. And I'm looking at it going, that is not in my schedule this week. I wasn't anticipating having to write a full-on tender bid. And so as a result, sometimes you can have those kind of like decision points. We've got to put in criteria now to look at it and go, well, how much effort we're going to put in. Does it fit with our core sort of, USPs? And if it does, well, then we should put everything we've got. If it doesn't quite, then we kind of, still do a good effort, but we don't spend as, much time and that kind of thing. But it's also about setting those expectations as well with the team and that kind of thing. So yeah, I am seeing the pressure over there, Chanel.
They just want to know what you have to say.
Yeah,